The record shows that we docked his pay once again.
Public comments. We have two people who registered. You got 3 minutes to speak. You got, just state your name and address. You guys are veterans and speaking here. Phil. And you're speaking with the group. Just say the group.
This is, you know, I don't know where to start, but I was curious.
Oh, Phil Purvis?
Oh, yeah, Philip Purvis, 509 Megan Lane, Shepard, Virginia. Be curious to find out what rules and regulations or guidelines that regulate the board of supervisors. Right? And I'm just assuming some of these things. I'm assuming that the zoning ordinances being one thing and the comprehensive plan would be another one, which either you guys adopted or they were adopted by your predecessors. You know, the county has spent tens of thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars on a new comprehensive plan, and it doesn't appear that we're really following the one we already have in place, and we seem to be ignoring our zoning ordinances. And while I totally support property rights, I do take issue with people living here or moving in here and buying land that is zoned for one purpose and then immediately coming to you guys and requesting special use permit or a change in zoning. You know, my belief is that a special use permit should be pretty much the exception to the rule instead of the rule. And I don't quite understand why we can't level the field here. And if you guys are governed by the comprehensive plan and the zoning ordinances, why don't we go by that? And that would take the pressure off of you guys, and it would level the field for everybody instead of just having all these special use permits, and it's totally changing the landscape of Nelson County. And 151 is a good example of that, what's happening. But that is basically my comment. But it would be interesting, and I know y'all don't respond to people while they're up here at the booth, but I would like to know what rules and regulations are you guys governed by? What? Okay, well, she's zoning. Is there anything else?
She's comprehensive plan and zoning.
Okay. Are they the only two things that govern the board of supervisors, or the rules or regulations that y'all work from? Or is there a handbook?
You can talk to the county admin, and they'll talk to you a little bit about the details of how that works.
Thanks.
Thank you, Phil. All right. Scott? Roth? Yeah?
I just registered so that you know I'd be here. I was speaking for the 391.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Anybody else here to speak for the public comments? All right, moving on. Let's go to public hearings, ordinance code 2022-05, licenses, permits, business regulations. Candy?
Okay, the proposed ordinance of 2022-05, amendment to Chapter 6, licenses, permits, and business regulations, Article 4, general business license. Purpose of these amendments is to streamline Section 6-84 definitions and to include short-term rental activities in the definition of a business. In 6-86, due dates and penalties are updated, and an invalid state code section reference is removed. In 6-88 exemptions, there's a clarification to the definition of a person engaging in the business of renting real property and a repeal of a reference to the sale of bicentennial merchandise. There is an addition of a new section 6-90 application requirements, which prescribes requirements to obtain a business license. And that part just describes the application process for the Commissioner of Revenue. And we removed the proposed sign-offs for building inspections and planning and zoning as requested by the board when the public hearing was authorized.
All right. Any questions for Katie before we go to a public hearing?
We can always ask any questions after the public hearing, along the line of people who wish to speak. All right. Now open the public hearing for O 2022-05. Is there anybody here who wishes to speak? Okay, hearing none. We will now close the public hearing referencing O 2022-05. What are the wishes of the board or any questions for Candy? If we don't have any questions, let's get a motion to approve as presented.
I move we approve ordinance O 2022-05, Nelson County Board of Supervisors Amendment to the Code of Nelson County, Virginia, Chapter 6, Article 4, General Business Licenses.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second? Second from Mr. Parr. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, let's do a vote by roll.
Mr. Barton?
Yes.
Mr. Parr?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Rutherford?
Yes. Okay, moving on to public hearing O 2022-06, amendment to Chapter 11 taxation, Article 6, transient occupancy tax.
Oh, sorry, Candy. That's okay. Got it. Okay, ordinance 2022-06 would repeal the section 11-143 relating to the creation of a registry for short-term rental of property. This registry is negated by requiring a business license for this purpose. Back in Chapter 6, licenses, permits, and business regulations. In 11-130 definitions, we've included bed and breakfast inn and vacation houses in the definition of a hotel. In 11-133, we added specific requirements for third-party collectors and their remittance of the transient occupancy tax to the Commissioner of Revenue, and streamlining of the language in 11-140 enforcement and 11-141 violations and penalties. So just to specifically note, in 11-133, we added language related to the collection and remittance of tax by third-party payers that states when the taxes are remitted by a person other than the owner of the hotel, the accompanying report shall list each owner's name and property address and the amount of the remittance for each.
Any questions for Candy before we go to public hearing? Hearing none, let's go to public hearing. Open the public hearing for ordinance O 2022-06, amendment to Chapter 11. Taxation, Article 6, transient occupancy tax. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak towards this? Hearing none, we close the public hearing in reference to ordinance O 2022-06. Is there a motion from the board to approve as presented? Or any questions?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adopt ordinance 2022-06, Nelson County Board of Supervisors Amendment to the Code of Nelson County, Virginia, Chapter 11, Taxation, Article 6, Transient Occupancy Tax.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Second, Mr. Parr. Any discussion?
I do have one question.
All right.
So wouldn't this 11-133 tie in with what we just talked about earlier about Airbnb submitting those payments and we get a check and don't know what it's for?
Yes, that's correct. The commissioner can now require them to submit this information with their payments. As we discussed before, enforcement may be a little difficult.
That's what I was wondering. How can we make Airbnb?
We'll find out.
Yeah.
We'll find out, but yeah, she can send this to them and say, hey, you're required to do this per our ordinance, and then go from there. Right.
Likely us doing this may help when the state aligns their policy with those groups too. So us getting this done preemptively will probably assist.
Yeah.
So. Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Any more discussion? Hearing no discussion, let's do a roll call vote.
Mr. Barton?
Yes.
Mr. Parr?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Rutherford?
Yes, okay, moving on to special use permit number 762 Distillery. Dylan.
This is a request for a special use permit for distillery use on property zoned B1 business located at 2461 Rockfish Valley Highway in the Central District, over 3 parcels totaling approximately 10 acres. The applicant is Three Notch Brewing Company, here representing them, Scott Ross. The property is currently home to the former Wild Wolf Brewing facilities, including a brewery, restaurant, event space, and associated parking, and was recently acquired by Three Notch. The applicants are proposing to utilize existing buildings for distillery production and are not proposing any new structures for this use. They're proposing to produce ready-to-drink cocktails that will be sold on site, to go, and for distribution throughout Virginia, and anticipate that 80% of what's produced in the distillery will be removed for off-site purchase. And they intend to utilize the remainder of the property as it has in the past. There is commercial, residential, and agricultural zoning in the vicinity is A1, R1, B1, and RPC for wintergreen. Adjoining businesses include an accounting office, insurance agency, and ice cream shops near the floodplains. The property is accessed by an existing entrance on Rockfish Valley Highway, and VDOT indicated their existing commercial entrance is sufficient and does not require any updates. The applicant's working with Aqua Virginia on the project proposal to design and construct a private force main to convey domestic wastewater to the Aqua system. The applicant's responsible for the design, construction, permitting, ownership, and maintenance of that force main. And production wastewater does not require a pump and haul permit from the board when there is no sanitary waste included with that. So that's not regulated by the health department. It would be a DEQ item. Property is located in Nelly's Ford, which is designated as neighborhood mixed use in the comprehensive plan. At their meeting on November 16th, the Planning Commission recommended approval 6-0 of this SUP for a distillery with the condition that the property shall be served by sewer through Aqua Virginia and the existing septic field shall be abandoned.
Okay, any questions for Dylan at this time? Okay, hearing none, let's go to the public hearing. Okay, we now open the public hearing in reference to special use permit number 762. Anyone here wish to speak? Okay, hearing none, we now close the public hearing referencing special use permit number 762 distillery. Is there any discussion at this time or questions for staff?
Yeah, so they have not,
Oh, the applicant. You want to come up and introduce yourself, by the way? I apologize.
Good evening, Scott Ross with Three Notch.
so you haven't, you have a contract with Aqua and you're just planning to do this?
We do have a contract with Aqua, so we're in the engineering component of it. We also have a building permit that's been approved with the county, so we're in construction right now. The domestic waste and the permit would be scheduled to be completed somewhere in May.
Anything you want to tell us about you guys? This board hasn't seen you yet.
No, the use will be very similar to what it was in the past, but the distillery license just allows us to make our own stuff instead of buy it from the Virginia ABC. Because the restaurant license would allow you to sell alcohol just like any other restaurant would, and we already have that on the property. So we'll be using this property primarily for bourbon aging and production, as well as the RTD production that was mentioned before, both of which would be sold just like the beer products that they're making to the consumer.
All right, any questions for the applicant? No, thank you, sir. Okay, any other further questions or comments, or can we get a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve special use permit 762 Three Notch Distillery 2464 Rockfish Valley.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Second from Mr. Parr. Any other discussion? No discussion, roll call vote.
Mr. Barton?
Yes.
Mr. Parr?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Rutherford?
Yes. All right, moving on to special use permit number 764.
Quick question, was that with the condition recommended by the planning commission?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay,
Including the officer.
Yes,
okay.
with those conditions, sorry.
Sorry, I didn't know.
He amended his motion, and he amended his second, and then we all voted that.
For the record.
For the record.
For the record. Thank you.
We're getting
Number 764.
All right, this is a request for a special use permit for campground use on properties owned A1 Agriculture on Crabtree Falls Highway in the West District. This property is 1.68 acres owned by J.H. and Roberta Fitzgerald. The property is currently vacant, located within the regulatory floodway. The owners currently use the lot for tent camping and fishing and are proposing to rent out 2 portable tiny homes on wheels for short-term lodging. The floodplain ordinance does allow public and private recreational uses and activities in the floodway. There is residential and agricultural. All zoning in the vicinity is A1, and this property is located within the floodway. It's accessed by an existing private entrance on Crabtree Falls Highway. The applicant has existing electric service and existing septic and well permitted by the health department. Property is located in an area designated rural and farming in the comprehensive plan. At the meeting on November 16th, Planning Commission recommended approval 6-0 of this SUP with a condition that there shall be no more than 2 sites and the 2 units shall be provided by the property owner.
That's good. J.H., you want to say anything?
I'm good if you don't have any questions.
All right, hey, let's go on to the public hearing real quick. All right, we now open the special use permit number 764, campground. Anybody here wish to speak to this? Okay, hearing none. We'll now close the public hearing, reference to special use permit number 764. Does the board have any questions for staff or the applicant? If not, can we get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion from Mr. Parker, we have a second.
With the conditions.
From the
as-
planning commission.
Planning.
We have a motion, second from Mr. Barton. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, let's do a roll call vote.
Mr. Barton? Mr. Parr?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Rutherford?
Yes. All right, number 5, special use permit number 763. The client, he has withdrawn his application, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Can we get a motion not to continue but to adjourn till the new year?
So moved.
Motion till next year. We have a second. No. Roll call.
We got it at 2 o'clock, we got out of here at 6:20. And we're, right.
I'll tell you.
I'll second.
Yeah, how kind of you. I was just gonna call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any objections? None. See y'all next year.
Hello, Roberta.
Hello, how are you, sir?
Hello, Jay.